Hi, Shara. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm so pleased that you're doing this interview for us. Thank you so much for International Day of Women and Girls in Science.
So I have a PhD in immunology. I did bench science for probably about 20 years. I was a senior scientist, and then I had my first daughter in 2000. So I slightly switched what I was doing and used my contacts to create a scientific events company, which I sold in, I think, 2016 roughly. And since then I have been a scientific consultant, and I also have resurrected a networking site for women in science, mums in science. It's good for science to have a lot of diversity, and I think women can bring a lot to science. That's it. There's so much. I like what I do specifically is the autonomy. I like the buck stopping at me. I mean, I've had that since I was a senior scientist, really. It took me a while to get to that point because I had the PhD, I was a researcher, but I like working for, at the moment I work for myself. I like being creative. I like the research, because in every job, especially when you're working for yourself or an entrepreneur job or any science-based job, there's a lot of research, and I like the learning. And I like the fact that it's all at my pace, which changes every day because of my children, who are teenagers now. Yeah, I like the fact that the buck stops at me, basically. Such an interesting question. There's a few things. I did find that when I left mainstream science and had my own company, it was mostly online, which was great as a woman who was bringing up young children. I went as Dr. Cohen, and people didn't know who I was, didn't know my sex, my gender, actually. They didn't know my gender. And it was very eye-opening, really, because I got treated differently. And sometimes people wanted to meet me, and when they met me, they were quite like, oh, you know, you could see it. So I like being Dr. Cohen because it's genderless. I didn't really notice anything until I became genderless, and then I noticed people treating me differently. Slightly more respect, not making assumptions about me, and I didn't realize assumptions were being made about me. I have two instances, well, actually one specifically that I recall that relates to your question. I was up just before I left mainstream science and had my first daughter and created my first business. I was up for a very senior position, the head of the whole research center position. And it was me and another girl. This isn't actually a gender issue. This is I'm not sure what the correct wording is with your generation, but I was told that it was against me and another woman. And the reason that I was told by a senior person that I probably wouldn't get the job, I don't know if this is even politically correct to say, actually, but it is a fact. This is a fact. I was told I wouldn't get it, and it was going to go to a lesbian because she wouldn't give up work and have children. And I was told that. Yeah. In the end, it actually went to a man because neither me nor the lesbian got it. It was outrageous. It was outrageous. So that wasn't really a gender issue. That was a sex issue, or whatever. I don't know what the terminology is. It was absolutely outrageous. But anyway, it didn't affect me because I chose to leave. But yeah, I love that story. And hopefully things have changed.
Wow.
That would have been 21 years ago, I was told that. And before that, I had not had any perception that the fact that I was a woman, a young woman of childbearing age, had any effect on my career development. I did not see it, but I saw it after that. I sort of kept seeing it. But that was 20 years ago, and I do think things have changed a lot. And as I say, since then, I've mostly been online. People don't know my sex, so I don't see it. internet's made a big difference. It's certainly made a difference to me. I mean, I'm speaking very much from the perspective of a mum in science, not a female in general. But for me, when I gave up mainstream and started a business, the internet was, I couldn't have done it without the internet. You know, I worked at my own whenever I chose what suited me, and people didn't know my gender, which was good. But I think for women who are making families, or men even now, it's changed, I think the internet makes an enormous difference. But I also think that your generation or the next generation perceive differences and also work-life balance very, very differently to our generation. I don't even think work-life balance is such a thing, because I think it's sought for more with your generation, whereas we pushed for it more. I'm not saying we were that great, but you know, I see it because my daughter is now, I've got my oldest is 20 and my youngest is 18, and I just see it in their male friends and all their friends. I think the whole perception of what is expected of the different genders is different. So I think a lot has changed. I feel that it's a lot easier for women now because the perception from men is different, the perception of themselves is different, and the internet is liberating. Yeah, people used to ask me this a lot, and I used to say Marie Curie was a role model for me because she was a female scientist, but with no real reason for it. Just because when I was younger, I wanted to be the female scientist and do everything quickly and get my PhD. But in recent years, the only role model that I've ever really aspired to be like, actually, is Harvey Milk, who I just think was the most wonderful person. When I am at a stage where when I'm blocked, when I'm trying to do the right thing and I feel like I'm being blocked or people don't get me, or I'm pushing boundaries, I quite often go to his speeches. I think he was an outstanding person. He changed lives. He saw the value of humanity, not jobs, which I think is important in life as well as jobs. I know we're talking about technology and women and science, but I think undermining that is everybody's need to be valued and to be equal. It's not just women being equal, it's everybody being equal. It's treating people with respect. And everything that he did underlines that. And I think if we remember that in our lives and in our work, then I think everything would be good.